Hi guys, my name is Yash and today I'll be showing you how to do this golden bronze kind of smoky eye tutorial. If you're interested on how I got the eyeshadow, keep on watching. Starting with the brows, we're just going to keep it really simple and I'm just going to spoolie down the brows first. I'm just going to use a Shiseido eyebrow pencil in the shade black and I'm just going to kind of fill in the brows. I like a little bit of a darker brow, so just like that, and then just filled it in. I'm going to spoolie them back up. And they kind of look even, so I'm happy with that. I'm just gonna fill in the shape a little bit more here. Next, we're gonna do our eyeshadow, and for eyeshadow, I'm using the MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot in the shade Soft Ochre, and we're just gonna clean underneath our brows with this. You can see like the shape is much more alive this way. So I just cleaned underneath the brows, and then after cleaning them up, I'm just going to fill in all of the lid space with the paint pot. You can use a concealer or whatnot as well. I just like to use an eyeshadow primer because my lids are very oily, so I feel like this one really helps to make it less creasing throughout the day. For eyeshadows, just make it as even as possible. Now that the eyes are primed, I'm gonna go into this cream white shade. I'm using the Eco Tools large shadow brush and I'm just gonna pick it up on one side and we are going to press it underneath the brow bone. I'm just gonna do 2 coats of that, and then after I pressed it, I'm just going to blend upward circular motions just to keep it all blended. And then I'm going to take another fluffy brush. This is Details by Tati EX5, and I'm going to take this brown shade and we're going to use that to be our transition shade. So I'm going to place it underneath the cream white shade that we put. So just in the crease, I'm putting it by tapping it in. I'm going to deposit the color on the crease by tapping it in until you can see the color is visible. You can see the brown is visible, and now we're gonna look straight ahead and blend the whole area. We're gonna blend upwards. We're gonna blend upwards towards the brow bone. I'm just blending it in a C and we're starting out to in. You can see that it's much more blended, and then we're going to slowly blend it outwards. Just like that. If the color moves away, just reintroduce it a bit by tapping it in that area, and then we're just going to blend again until we have like a light wash of transition shade going on from a little bit of cream to very light brown. Now that the transition area is set brown, I want to use a little bit of a dark peach. So we're gonna go into this like apricot shade. We're going to use a smaller blending brush and I'm just gonna pick that up and we're gonna put that on top of our transition shade, placing it more on the outer corner. So I just picked that up on a blending brush, a light apricot kind of shade, and we're just gonna start to blend it in just to give it like a little bit of a wash of orange hues, but I don't want to use orange, so that's why I'm using this just like that. So you can see this one is more brown, but this one become a little bit more peachy, and this is the effect we want, and we're gonna keep that on the outer crease. What I'm going to do, use the same blending brush that we used the brown, and I'm just going to blend on top of it just to keep everything blended and smooth. Now for the more fun part, if you know this palette, you know it's all browns and everything. I don't support the person who made this palette anymore, but I spend my money on this, so I am going to use it. And we are looking for a darker brown, something like these two, so like a dark mocha and then like a dark espresso kind of brown. And we are gonna use these two colors more on the outer corner of our eye. Let me show you how. So first, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this brush. It's like a fluffy shader brush, and we're gonna go into that mocha shade, a warm, let's say a warm milk chocolate kind of shade, and it's very dark. I'm just picking up on one side of the brush, and we're just going to place that over 1/3 at the outer corner, just like this. And I'm just tapping the color in first. And then what I'm going to do is tap the color on the other side. So just tapping it on the outer corner of the eye in more of a liner kind of shape. And then what I'm going to do is just blend out the edges in small circular motions around the perimeter of the shadow that we just placed. And a little bit in the crease. Luckily, this shadow is very blendable, so just a little bit of blend, and this is the result you get. Same on the other side. This side always gives me trouble where this area just refused to pack any color. So what I like to do is after I blend it, I will just pick up a little bit more and just stamp it on top. And I will try my best not to blend that area out again and just blend the edges. So go slowly as you need and build up the color as you like. I just want to do a little bit more. I'm bringing it up to the crease. It doesn't need to be too neat on this area because we're going to cover it with shimmer anyway. So just try your best until you get something like this. So there's majority of the brown in here. Don't worry about this area. When we blend it all together and we put the shimmers on, it's gonna look together, but this is more like trust the process kind of eyeshadow look. Next, I'm gonna use a smaller kind of blending brush, a thin blending brush. This is the Morphe M507. I don't know if they sell this anymore, but it looks like a pencil and it is very blendy. And this is the one we're going to use our darkest shade with. I'm going to use this dark espresso color. It's more warm than cool. So this one is a cool espresso color, but this one is a warmer espresso color. I'm just going to pick it on one side of the brush, and I'm just going to place that more on the outer corner, just at the tip, just like over here. And then after I place it, I'm going to blend it in, just to give a little bit of darkness on the eyes. I'm also going to blend it into the crease, but more focusing on the outer eye corner. We just use the dark espresso color to darken this area versus this area that has no dimension. This one have a little bit of more shading versus this one looks a little bit more plain. So I'm just going to do this eye and then we're going to play with the shimmers. So this is what the eyes look like after blended out. I want to clean up this area a little bit, so we're going to use a pressed powder. Pick any pressed powder, and we just need a blending brush, and we're just gonna pick up the pressed powder on the blending brush. This pressed powder is very light and not that pigmented, so I'm not worried about picking up too much. You can also use a loose powder, and what we're going to do, we're just gonna put it underneath the brow bone and on the perimeter of the shadow work, and then we're just gonna blend everything to make it more smooth and clean. Like you can see, this one is much more smooth and light versus this one. The perimeter is so messy. That's why I like to do this step, and this way I can also finish using my pressed powder that I have panned. Kind of made it too light, so I'm just gonna reintroduce the colors by just tapping in the areas I feel like need a little bit more definition, and just like that. Now let's play with shimmers. The shimmers of this look, I'm mainly going to use a bronze shade and these golden champagne shades, and this is what I'm gonna work with. So for shimmers or any kind of thing, I always like to use a flat brush. So I'm using this huge shader brush, and I'm just going to take this bronze shade and we're just gonna fill up all the negative space with this first. So this will be the base for any shimmers that we put on top. So I'm just putting it in like a semi-cut crease kind of a thing. For the edges, we'll clean it up later. Same thing on the other side. Fill the negative space with this. Putting in like a semi-cut crease kind of thing. Now let's put on some golden. For the golden shade, I'm going to use this single eyeshadow because it's so pretty. I'm going to take another flat brush and we're going to place that mainly on the center. Mainly on the center, and bring it up into the crease as well. Just give it a more pop. Same thing on the other side, just in the center of the lid. So I brought it all the way up to the brow bone as well. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So it's all the way up to the brow bone, but it's more prominent on the lid space. So what the techniques is, you tap it more in the lid space and then you swipe it up. So you have a very faint golden hue. Next, we're gonna go into this champagne color. I'm taking the Details by Tati EX6 brush, and we're just going to, this shadow is very powdery, so we're just gonna take it and we're just gonna place it in the inner corner. Not too much, just a bit, just like that, just to give it a little bit of a shine. We're gonna go back in the bronze shade again, and I'm just gonna fill in the space. And then finally taking the same powder brush, and we're just gonna blend the perimeter of the shimmers so it can look a little bit more muted. Finally, we're gonna take a liner brush. This is Details by Tati EX7, and we're gonna use this black shade to give us not a winged liner, but just line the lash line with this. A very thin line to line the lash line. Just like that. So you can see that the lash line, after you put on mascara or lashes, it will look so pretty. But this is it for now. For the eyeshadow on our bottom lash line, we're gonna do it after we have finished our makeup. So before we do our face makeup, we are going to clean out the fallout. So I'm just using a makeup eraser and just cleaning up underneath the face and just cleaning up the edges into more of a cat eye shape like this. You can see there's a clean line. You can go in with a makeup wipe and be more precise, but this is fine for me. Let's do the rest of the face now. I'm going to use the NYX Marshmallow primer, and just going to one pump of the marshmallow primer, and I'm gonna mix it with a liquid highlighter. Choose any of your choice. I'm just using a more bronzy liquid highlighter. So I'm going to mix that, and then I'm gonna take a angled flat face brush and just prime the brush with the primer. We are gonna place this more on the perimeters of the face, and I'm just tapping it in. Remember to really go in on the forehead, but for the face, just perimeters is fine. With the rest of it, we're just gonna try to illuminize everywhere. The marshmallow primer is a very good primer because it's very sticky and mixing it in with the liquid highlighter just gives it a very nice glow to the face. And now I'm going to use a pore filling primer. This is the SEM Perfect Pore Primer, and I just like to place that on my pore areas above my lips, on the bridge of my nose, and a little bit on my chin. I don't like to put it on the forehead because I like the forehead to be more hydrated. So that's why I put the marshmallow primer there. And I'm just gonna tap it in to fill the pores. Really press in to your skin. And you can see that it mattified this area, and especially when we put on like foundation or anything on it, it will look more poreless. It doesn't erase the pores completely, but it makes it look more poreless. And I'm going to put on the eye stick, but I'm doing a short form content for this on YouTube Shorts and everywhere that you can post short form content. So I'm going to do that and then come back. So not only did I do the wear test for the Iceland hydrating stick, I'm also doing the wear test for the e.l.f. Camo CC cream in the shade Light 210N. So be on the lookout for that. So I just use that all over the face. Now we're going to go into the next step. The CC cream is a little bit too light, so I like going in with a cream contour. This is the Huda Beauty Tanned Contour and Bronzer Cream in the shade Light. I think she discontinued this and you can't get it anymore, but I still have quite a bit and I'm just going to use it. So I'm picking it up on the Details by Tati SP3 brush, and the brush is very nice. It's like a flat small brush. It's shaped like this, and it's very good for laying down cream bronzer and contour. So I'm just going to tap that on my cheeks to bronze up my face. I feel like the Huda Beauty one is discontinued, but by seeing other creators on the internet, I feel that the Makeup by Mario or the Say bronzer, cream bronzer, might have the same kind of blendability as this. So I just like to tap on the forehead. I know it looks kind of harsh right now, but once I have completed the rest of my makeup, it will look very nice. And then just a little bit on the chin, blend it into your double chin, and this will give it a nice kind of contour. And you can already see this one with no dimension and this one with dimension. I know it looks very heavy-handed, but we are going to fix it. So sometimes the bronzer can go way down, so I just like to use a beauty sponge that I blended my foundation on with and just blend out the edges and see how much more seamless this look. This bronzer is really so pretty. I'm gonna do the other side of my face and then we're gonna move to cream blush. So I just did the other side of my face as well. So I'm just gonna clean up a bit. And then whatever is left on the brush, I just like to go down the nose and on the nose. Just pick up a little bit from the lid and just like to go on top of my lips and underneath my lip, just so I can have a much more fuller effect. And I'm just gonna leave it like this. I'm not gonna blend it out. I know it looks harsh, but when it's time to put on lipstick, it really does a very good job in making sure the lips look super full. Time for cream blush or liquid blush. I'm using the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch liquid blush in the shade Happy. I'm just gonna take, I just like to take 2 dots of this on a makeup palette. I know this might seem too heavy, but I love blush and I really go into, I do have blush blindness, so I don't mind it. I'm going to use Details by Tati EX2 brush, and again, I'm just gonna prime the brush with the blush and make sure it's really on there. And then we're just gonna go in on our right cheek first. I like to put place the blush more on this area. I'm just using very light tapping circular motions. Pick up a little bit more, and then gonna do the other side again with the light tapping circular motions, and then go underneath the eyes. I like a very pink, subtle pink under eye, not too pink, but subtle pink under eye. That's why I like to bring it down here. Of course, if it's too much blush for you, just skip this step, but this is the way I like to wear my blushes. And then just a little bit on the nose, a bit on the chin, and the sides of the forehead. Now it just looks like pink all over the face, but this is my vibe. If this is not your vibe, feel free not to do it. Now we're gonna go in with concealer. For concealer, I'm trying to finish the Huda Beauty Full Filter Concealer in the shade Vanilla Swirl 3.1B. And I like to do this one eye at a time. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of concealer here. I don't like to use a brush to blend it out with, so I'm just going to use a beauty sponge. And I know people like to wait or whatnot, but I just like to go straight in and just keep blending it underneath. And just like this. And then go back into the blush and just reintroduce the blush on top, on the cheeks. Then now the other side of the face. This is the one with the leaky packaging. So annoying. What can we do? Trying to finish it. Fact is, this concealer is so pigmented. I think if I ever buy a Huda Beauty concealer next time, I'm gonna just buy the mini size. And then gonna go in with this Magic Star concealer. I just like to use a very tiny dot, like super tiny, just to highlight the inner corner, because I like to have a bright inner corner. And I'm just going to tap that mainly in this area. Amazing. See how brightened the inner eye looks, and this really helps you to look so awake. Of course, this is an extra step. If you don't prefer a bright inner corner, you can skip the steps. Skip whatever steps you think are unnecessary. Just gonna reintroduce the blush again. And now we're gonna set our face with a pressed powder. I'm doing a wear test on this as well, so I'll check in with you after I've set the face. I just finished setting with the Rare Beauty setting powder, and this is what the face is looking like. Now we're going to bake. For baking, I'm gonna use 2 powders because I'm trying to finish both. The first one is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Instant Retouch Setting Powder in the shade Banana. I like to use that specifically just for the under eyes. Taking the same powder puff that I used to set my face with, and I'm just gonna pick up that powder. We're going to make sure it's even on the powder puff, and let's start to bake. Just in this area. A little bit much came out, so I think I'm just gonna use this powder to bake the rest of my face as well. So I'm gonna make it even and then place it on the forehead, on my smile lines, on the cupid's bow, chin. I'm gonna clean up the sides of my face as well, but I'm going to do that after I put in the bronzer and everything. I'm just gonna put a little bit more powder there because we have to do under eye eyeshadow work. For under eyeshadow, we're gonna keep it really simple. We're just gonna focus on the brown shade and the bronze shade. I'm using Details by Tarte SP6 brush, and we are just picking up that powder, and I'm just going to just a little wash of color. You can see it made a whole difference. I'm gonna take a little bit more. Take the same brush, go into the bronze shade of it, and then so we're just putting it from the inner corner to half of it. We're not bringing it all the way back, just to tie the whole look. We're going to take the same baking powder, and we're just gonna place that on top of where we have extra powder, just to clean it up. And we're gonna dust it away later, but let's do contour now. For powder contour, I'm going into the Makeup Revolution Roxaris contour and highlight palette, and I'm panning this shade. So this is what we're going to use today. I'm taking a small rounded fluffy powder brush, and we are going to pick the contour up and just place it underneath the bronzer. This is a very light contour shade, so it just gives a little bit of dimension but not too much, and I just like to place it underneath the bronzer and just blend it. Bring it on the sides of the nose, on top of the nose, on the cupid's bow, underneath the lips, and then just on the temples, on the forehead. Let's do bronzer now. Bronzer, I'm using the Physicians Formula Butter Collection X Viley Hong, and we're using this bronzer shade. This is Physicians Formula bronzer in deep bronze. You can get it on its own as well. And I'm just using a large fan brush, and I'm just going to coat the fan brush in this, dust off the excess and tap off most of the shimmer on the hand, and we're just going to use the fan brush to bronze our face. I really like this because it makes bronzing the face so much easier. So I'm just hitting the 3 parts of the face where I want to bronze, and then the forehead, going back in and just fanning the face. And I'm just going to go on the sides of the nose. Let's move to blush. For blush, I'm going to use this palette again, and we're going to use this hot pink shade and this baby pink shade, and we're going to take a round tapered brush. This is actually meant for highlighting, but I like to use it for blush, and this is from the brand Luxie, and we're just going to take this hot pink shade on top of the brush, and we're going to place that mainly on the sides of the cheek, just at the high cheek point. And then I'm just tapping that in circular motions, and we're just gonna bring it into the face. I'm gonna take a little bit more, blend it in circular motions, and then I'm gonna take the baby pink shade and we're gonna put that at the apples of our cheeks. Again, I really love a really blushed look. If this is too blush heavy for you, skip as much as steps as you like. Just on the tip of the nose, the bottom of the chin, sides of the forehead, and just this very blushy, very nice. And before I do our highlights, now I'm gonna clean the sides of the face. So I'm gonna start by placing the powder here and just tap it to clean it. The other side as well. We'll blend it away later. For highlight, I'm gonna use the Northern Light Supreme Frost Pro palette again. There was a time when I was a fan of this brand, but not anymore, so I don't encourage you guys to use, but I have this in my collection, so I'm going to use it. And let's do the inner corner highlight first. For the inner corner highlight, I'm going to use this orange shade, and I'm just going to place that in the inner corner. Wow, wow, wow. So pretty. On the other side, I'm actually going to use the same one and just highlight underneath the brow bone, and I'm going to go all underneath the brow bone just to give it a very nice highlighted look. We're going to highlight the face. I'm using the Details by Tati SP4 brush, and I'm going to use the same orange kind of shade, mix it with a little bit of the pink, baby pink, and we're just gonna highlight the cheeks. I'm still stuck in the 2016 highlight, so if you think that this highlight is too intense for you, change your methods as they go. This is perfect for me. Highlight the cupid's bow, the chin, the nose a little bit more. It's above the brows. I'm just gonna hit the highlight a little bit more intensely. And now we're gonna dust away the bake. To dust away the bake, I'm using a large powder brush. This is the Details by Tati ES1, and I'm just going to dust away the bake by blending it out. We're gonna do one last step, which is highlighting the face with a brightening powder. And I'm gonna use this tulip brush. This is the Details by Tati EX3 brush. I'm gonna use this pink brightening powder from this brand. If you know, you know. It just have a little bit more. So I'm just gonna finish it. I'm gonna place the pink one underneath the eyes, and I'm gonna place the yellow one on the forehead, at the sides of the face, in the center of the face. And then let's set everything with a setting spray, but I'm doing a wear test on this. So I'll do this for my short form content and come back. Time to finish the rest of the makeup. So first we're going to use a black eyeliner. This is the Faces Canada Magnetized Kajal. So I'm just going to use this black eyeliner to tightline my waterline. Highlight my upper waterline, just like that. And then I'm going to use the Sephora Collection 12-Hour Colorful Contour Eye Pencil in the shade Coconut. And we're going to tightline the bottom waterline with this. And then we're going to use mascara. So before we do mascara, I'm going to curl the lashes. Make sure you clean off your lash curler before you curl your lashes so that it doesn't have any makeup residue from the last time you use it. Start curling. Really clamp all your lashes, and you can see the lashes are standing up. I like to curl them for at least 30 seconds, and then we're going to use the mascara. I'm using the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect mascara, and we're just going to coat our lashes in this. Oh, there's a little bit of this here, but we're gonna take care of that later. It's a problem for later. So this is what one coat of mascara does. I'm going to clean up the inner corner right at the end. So next one, we're going to use the Sephora Collection Shape and Set Clear Brow Gel. And we're going to use it to set our brows. Just a thin coat of this is enough. Should I go for thinner brows? What do you think? I'm thinking to thin my brows. Not too much, just a bit. Time for the second coat of lashes. I like to do at least 3 to 4 coats. It's a little bit of mascara on top of the lid as well, but I'll fix it later. Let's do the lips. I'm using the Sephora Collection Lip Liner to Go in the shade 17 Light Brown, and I'm just gonna use that to line the lips. So just overlined a little bit on the Cupid's bow and the bottom lip, and then we're gonna do another coat of mascara. And this way I don't have to wear false lashes. And then we're gonna do a liquid lipstick. I'm wearing the YSL Lip Tattooed Contour Lip Satin in the shade 43. I don't think they sell this anymore, but it's such a pretty shade. And then we're going to use a very baby pink lipstick. This is the MAC Mineralized Rich Be Fabulous. And I'm just gonna dab that. Before I dab that, I'm actually gonna clean the first layer off because it has stains of like other lipsticks. I'm just going to dab that in the center of the lip to give it a more pinkish hue. And finally, we're going to go in with a nude lip gloss. This is a ColourPop nude lip gloss. They don't even sell this anymore. And this is, I'm just going to put that at the center, bottom center, and Cupid's bow. And this is the finished makeup look. A little bit dark and bronzy for a Tuesday, but it's so pretty. I'm going to fix myself and then do the outro later. So thank you for watching, and this is what the makeup looks like in natural lighting. The eyeshadow looks very subtle when you do a full coverage base. I could go a little bit bigger and wider with my eyeshadow work, so I will work on that for next time, because doing all that work, the eyes are looking a little bit small. I think a cat eye or eyelashes will look good as well, but not bothered with it today, and I have to go out to work, so that's not my cup of tea, but this looks really pretty. I was so happy with especially the golden shimmer. And let me know, how did you find this tutorial? Let me know whether it was useful, what I should do next. Comment below for that. Like this video if you liked this video, and subscribe for more makeup content, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.